Hello all at Bandai, this is Master Wang bringing you another episode. Not much to say this week in general due to the lack of previews, but what with the Gamma convention and all for Bandai's sake, and the I guess the main things I guess we're going to be carrying in this video are just a ruling clarification due to the recent previews and such, and also a little deck idea that might actually this I thought of this as a casual deck idea at first, but I thought of it as casual at first, but then when I actually got to play it, I got to thinking, I'm like, if I actually didn't mess around with this deck, maybe it actually would have a chance. Um, and we'll start off with that. The deck idea, of course, as most of y'all have actually probably tried out, is a no effect text deck. I call it the bland deck, to be honest with you. Some of you call it a vanilla deck. Just nearly every ninja has no effect text, and pretty much you run at least, and you pretty much run three of the Irukas and Pakuns that give +1/+1 to every ninja that has no effect text, including negated effect text. That actually, when it comes right down to it, if you get both of them out there and you have the strongest effect no effect text ninjas, which in this case of the game would pretty much be Might Guy, Asuma, Sasori, and then Kakashi. Those are the late game mono, the bland effect texts. And if you actually get them together with the boost, it's a 19 at a start. Yeah, yeah. If it really wasn't so much for that Rasengan, for the structure deck Rasengan, or this upcoming Rasengan from previewed in the podcast, the game would be quite frankly the bland effect test would get to see a lot more play, to be honest, and be a little bit more unstoppable in terms of strength. It's quite frankly, even early in the game, it's a giant boost in strength. If you can actually tempo the Pakun and Iruka and actually have a blank effect Hex Ninja out there. With the upcoming Sasuke, though, was a huge plus. I mean, even that alone is actually quite remarkable. You play Sasuke, he's a 4-0 injured 2-0, which kind of already ruins most of the strength of the early tempo game on turn 0. So frankly, Sasuke to me is probably one of the best turn 0 drops that anybody could pull off on that turn. Probably the best tempo. And then next turn, turn 1, you play Pakun. Now you've got a team of 6. Sasuke becomes a 5-1, and then Pakun's 1 support. Then you play Iruka. Now Sasuke's a 6 at turn 2, and then he's got an additional 3 support. Play enough ninjas in the back, play enough support ninjas in the back, and actually, and then there you go. You can out strengthen your opponent anytime. Now, I guess the real question at this point is, what do you do for jutsus? Uh, it's it's really that's the bigger question because if you go back to the Path of Hokage, you could even try and use if you don't want to use a new Chronicles Sakura and Naruto, which I ran when I tested it, uh, the turn 3 versions. Uh, if you want to go back to the Path of Hokage and actually run the turn 0 versions of those ninjas, which it would actually be pretty cool actually. It'd be because pending what your jutsus are. You could actually run a blank effect text deck and run weapon jutsus. I ran a 10-10. I ran the 10-10 that gets the jutsus that cost one or two of anything back from your discard pile back to your hand, and I didn't run the blank effect text one at all. I just rather run three of the ones that get them back because I would also run the kunai that could give a weapon combat attribute ninja +3/+3, which in this case made me want to run the turn 0 Sakura's from Path of Hokage, where she had 1 combat and 1 support and an injured 0 combat and 1 support. Because she was a weapon combat attribute back then, so it's like and that's the one of the best surprises you can give your opponent. You drop Sakura on turn 0, 1/1 healthy, and they could probably swing with Choji and pump up using his effect. You block with Sakura, and so long as you have that 1 chakra down there, you play Kunai, and she gets +3/+3. So it's definitely quite a bit of a surprise. Which I guess, which will lead me up to saying that it's probably one of the most unpredictable decks so far. because while the ninjas might be predictable, it's very flexible in terms of jutsu use. Um, Especially pending the ninjas that you can play. There's even the turn 3 Haku from I think either Path of Hokage or Coils of Snake that was a 4-2 healthy and a 0-2 injured and actually had a weapon combat attribute back then. Or you can even run the turn 0 Haku if you want. But a mono effect hex deck, but a bland effect hex deck, to me would in terms of elements, it would be probably be Lightning Earth. But with the upcoming cards, it's very fair to maybe make it lightning fire with the Sasuke and the turn 4 Kakashi from Path of Hokage, and then the turn 0 Sasuke from this upcoming set. Uh, I'd say lightning earth uh because of Asuma. He's other than or if you I mean because there's hardly any wind ninjas with no effect text in mid to late game. Lightning had more non-effect text than the rest of the game so far. And I could run Arashifuma instead of Kakashi, except that Arashi does not have a rank and he doesn't have any support in his injured status, whereas Kakashi is a 5-3 healthy just like Arashi and a 3-2 injured instead of a 3-0. And he has Jonin. Uh, the jutsus that I ran in particular were boosts like Night Attack, Kunai, um, and maybe a couple of Headhunter jutsus, and Smoke Pellets, of course. But now if I were to have a second go at it, I would definitely take out the Night Attacks and leave the Kunais. Maybe even swap out maybe swap out those turn 3 Sakuras for back to the turn zeros and maybe find a way to put the Hakus back in so that more ninjas can use Kunai more. Um, and then more Headhunter Jutsus would want to see play. And then maybe, what was the other one? More Negation. Because that is the effect hex biggest weakness. It doesn't have as much of a defense than the rest. Its defense is its offense. So run some smoke pellets, run some disguised jutsus, or Kujaku wings, anything that can protect your team from jutsus for that turn. Because it's definitely because if I found myself saying like if they actually because they ended up playing like quite a bit of water furious currents and 8 trigrams and it was really not much for me to do. I just got lucky a couple of times with that. I had a smoke pellet in my hand, especially for a vortex. You would definitely want to staple in some disguised jutsus or Kujaku wings for those for that deck. Uh, Sorry that this video is taking a little bit longer than the rest would actually be. It's just because I actually think that there's some competitive edge to the mono effect text deck. It's very fun and at the same time it's very competitive because trust me, nothing is funnier when your opponent is kind of slightly behind on the ropes and you're only making it worse with each turn. It's got great turn and every ninja that you play on every other turn is going to make it stronger. Cause and actually how it is, turn 4 I played Kakashi. Turn 5 I played Asuma, and then the next turn I played my guy. Got them all on the team. Pakun and Iruka were already out. It's a 19. I'm sorry, any deck that can make a 19 strength team by itself without the help of any jutsus or missions is actually kind of cool. So give it a try when you want. Next video I'm going to be covering the latest clarification, um, uh, especially with the upcoming preview. So catch the next video, and I'll see y'all then.